This is the difference in looking at time frame. You know, and you look at the time frame long term. What did we have? We have this long term downtrend, right? And what did we get? We've got the low. Let me get the fuck. We've got the low, lower high, but we've got a higher low. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So you see how this pattern plays out in the little short time frame and the long grand scheme of things, right? That's identifying your trend. The trend is your friend until the end. If you're riding the uptrend, the trend is your friend until the end. When the uptrend ends, you don't want to be going up anymore, in my opinion. You know, just like this trend, we were going up. That trend is your friend until when? Until it ends. Now that it's ended, just because an uptrend is ended, this is a good time to note this. Just because an uptrend has ended, that does not mean we are going into a downtrend. It could mean we are going into a slower uptrend, a new trend, a slower trend, could be a sideways trend, could be a downtrend. All ending the trend, all breaking that trend line, especially like let's look at SOL because this mega pump we've had. All this is saying is we have lost this momentum of just keep fucking ripping, right? That doesn't mean that's the top and we're necessarily going back down. We could come retest back here, hold this trend line, and then go make higher highs again. That's an absolute possibility. The charts can do anything. Price action can do anything. Up, down, to the right. The only thing it'll never do is go fucking left. That's the only thing that a chart will do is not go left. But so looking at this, all this is telling me, okay, we have broken this uptrend. So if I was riding this trend, the trend is my friend until when? The end. Well, it's ended. We've got the lower high, now the lower low, and we've lost this support line. In my mind, this trend has ended. But we could come down here and start another uptrend. We could go sideways for a while, or we could or start a downtrend. So how do we know? We start a new trend. We put a new trend line. That's how we find out, just like we did all the way back here. You know, here's a trend line, and we could drop all the way back down to this range down here, down to $28, $30, and still be in an uptrend. If you're looking at it long term, and that's wild to think that we could lose 50%. We could take a 50% hit right now and still be in an uptrend in the grand scale, right? So now you understand how markets can move. We can still be in an uptrend, but take a 50% hit right now. And now you see why Thor and having Auto Thor managing through these ups and downs, because if we take a 50% hit, what's everybody going to say? Oh, yep, I was right. Solana was shit. Solana's a shit coin. It's fucking going back to nothing. It's just fucking taking action in the market. So that's why these trend lines are my personal, not financial advice. Do your own research. These are my personal ultimate indicators of which direction I feel the market is making for that period of time. And if you look back, you know, Here was a Thor call that we made that you could have taken on stream that hit. Here was the Thor call we made on stream that you could have taken and hit profit. But you see my downtrend. And because of that, right here, when we retested, you see we got the bearish cross of the EMAs. The white line is now underwater, I say. Price action is underwater because it's under the blue line. It's just something that helps me mentally know what's going on. So we found resistance on it again. We broke through and I said, okay, this is the place to enter your short. I drew that gold box and said, if we come up and retest this EMA, and what do we got? That was a 20% gain. We took profits right before we hit this box here. And then we said, this looks like a good time to get in. We threw the fib there, but right on top of this box is where we wanted to go long. Or you could have gone long at the break and the retest. This was a Thor short. Could have taken that short. And we called to go long here. So, and you can look back in the Tuesday Trader reviews. You can watch the live sessions. We said, what do we have here? We have the low, and we have a higher low. And then look, we broke and retest. So we called you could get anywhere in around $21 on this higher low, get in at the break at 22, or get in at the retest somewhere around 23, 20, even 24. Not bad, considering where it went up to, and now this is where I'm saying take profits, was at 56 or wherever this retest to. And I was advocating for you to, take profits, ladder out just like you ladder in. But this is where I'd look to close my short. My short that I opened down here, this is where I'm closing on the break and on the retest. So, again, this is my personal kind of strategy, how I kind of see the market. I'm just a guy drawing lines on a chart, not financial advice. Do your own research. Any questions, please? Gives me a moment to pack a bowl and get a drink of water.
Yeah.
Thor,
Yeah. You go ahead.
I wanted to ask. Thor has now short calls. How?
Yes,
how
there
did you
actually
get them?
is 2 short calls. So let me pull Thor back up real quick. So when I drew those boxes earlier on my chart to prepare for the stream, those, I don't know, maybe I accidentally turned off shorts, but I did not see those short calls to put them in there. But if we go to Thor and we look at Solana and we go to the 4-hour, you can see there's 2 short calls as well as 2 long calls.
Yeah.
So there are a couple long calls. Oh, I'm sorry, a couple short calls. So I don't know if that changes your question. If you still have a question, please proceed.
Yeah. How everything looks more bearish also on Bitcoin, so that gives me confidence that maybe these longs got realized. But then Thor gives this short calls and it drives me nuts. I don't know what to do basically, right? So I'm always thinking about what will happen.
To do, I know exactly what you mean, and that's the human emotion they try to get you caught up in is you don't know which to do and what to do, and that's how the market works. So using the risk management tool can help you a lot, because then basically you always need to prepare for either direction. And just like that picture I started with in the very beginning, let me go back to it. So I thought the market was going to go down. You see this first picture I posted here. I thought that was going to be the head and shoulders, and that we were probably going to lose support here and go down. And that's why I listed this first. And you know what I thought was going to happen. However, we have to be prepared for what if it goes up. So how do I know which direction it's going to go? That's where, for me, my trend lines come in, right? So if I go back, I personally think that since we lost, give me a second. Since we lost this trend line, I think we are more likely to hit these long zones before those shorts. But if we do find support either on this blue line or in the zone or before, and we do go up here and make the higher high, okay, then look to short. And if we, take that short, because that short has a take profit point, right? That take profit point would probably be a higher low. So if this was the low, this would now be our higher low, indicating a potential higher high still. So, but my trend line, see, if I see my trend line get broken, that's when I start to rethink the direction I'm going. The trend is your friend until the end. So in my mind, long calls going up and using the shorts as take profit points, and now or using, not financial advice, do your own research, these to maybe even potentially with a little bit of leverage to snipe in and snipe out. But this call is 17% to take profit one. That's a juicy call. This is why we love volatility. This is why we're in crypto. This call right here, 30% call. You don't even need to put leverage on that. I mean, you do what you please, but manage your risk properly. But if I'm opening a short at the break or the retest, there's nothing wrong with taking a little bit of profit. Because if you take some profit and then it keeps going up, you can close out at even, right? And you still made money if it decides to go back up. If you close out your position totally and it shits the fucking bed, well then you're like, oh well, damn, I should have waited. So just like you ladder in, you buy on the low. You don't buy into the pumps. You try to buy when you see the lows. And that's a good point to talk about in the contract too, and how the contract buys. So the contract was buying Solana here at $24. It was buying Solana here at $20. It was buying here at $19. Well, if you open your contract here at $24, you're like, what the fuck is going on? I'm just losing money. It's buying here at $18. Now, what it bought at 18, it's taking profits at 24. What it bought at 20, it's taking profits at 32. What it bought here at 24, it's taking profits at 42 and 56. So it's buying on the way down and selling on the way up. Ladder in, ladder out. So if you're in here, or you're got in the short, or you ladder into your short, ladder out, take some profits. And then ultimately, when you see your trend line break, man, that's when I think, okay, time to close position. The trend has ended. Let's reassess. Am I now getting a higher low? Am I now printing candles above the white EMA? Am I now finding support above neutral instead of being stuck down below it? These are indicators to our direction and our trend. But ultimately, Thor is the number one indicator that I have found. In my own personal trading, you see, like I said, I have EMAs and I don't even have indicators on the EMAs. There's indicators of, oh, they crossed, or, oh, they've got X number so far. That means they're going to snap back and blah, blah, blah. There's all kinds of shit with the RSI. Well, when it does this or it does that. Now, I look at, has it redline, or are people starting to, FOMO in, and does it maybe need to cool off a little bit? Or are people paper handing down here at the bottom? This is where people are paper handing. What's it indicating? When it may rip. But it's finding support. Finding support. Well, now this to me is RSI is a FOMO meter. When everything's up and bullish and staying in the bullish range, that's great. Not when it's going over bullish and people are getting in late and, really FOMO. Just like down here, this is my bearish zone. If it's just staying in this zone, it's kind of bearish. It doesn't really have any gas, any movement. But when it gets down here to where people are really paper handing, that's when you start to need to pay attention. So these different indicators used in conjunction with technical analysis, drawing our own trend lines, and in conjunction with Thor call, our record shows we've been pretty profitable here on the Tuesday Trader Reviews. These are all calls that we've made that you could have got in on. And even the latest, the break and the retest and getting in at let's just say $24 even, to take profits now is even 120%. To take profits at the break was 130. So, and I did advocate to take profits here at 30%. There's nothing wrong with taking some profit. Take some profit at this Thor short. Take some profit when you see, is this a double top? I don't know. Maybe take a little bit of profit. There's no one goes broke by taking 30% profit, by taking 80% profit, and then closing at 120% profit. You're not going to hit a fucking home run every swing. You're not going to get in perfect and get out perfect every time. But setting these trend lines and analyzing them the way that I do is the way that I have found the closest. And people that know me in real life would tell you I am a somewhat obsessive person, and when I decide I want to learn a skill, be it mental, be it physical, whatever it may be, when I dedicate myself to learn something, I am fucking relentless. And I cannot tell you how many hours of my life I have dedicated to staring at these charts, dumbfounded, just what? Before things started to click, and I have refined this strategy that I've kind of laid out to share with you guys over years. And still, through all that, Thor is still the best indicator that I've found. It takes out all the emotion out. It takes the guessing out. It tells you when to get in, where to set your stop loss, where to take your profits.
Got one for you. If somebody has a few $100 to play with, is it generally better to do a few different small manual Thor calls, or focus on a few, more sure calls or sure zones, things there?
Well, if you have, let's say you've got $200 that you want to trade with, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't advise maybe going more than 20, $25 per trade.
Okay.
And again, this isn't about making, taking your whole entire Solana bank, all your USD, and throwing it in and selling every bit of Solana you've got right now. Like, I sold very little Solana up here, right? Can look at opening perpetual shorts, but I mean, if we think Solana may be going back to all-time highs, that's all the way up here. That's still another 400% increase to all-time highs. So I'm bullish on Solana. So I'm not like selling my whole bag of Solana. Just like if you have a $200 account, you're not going to go all $200 in one direction or the other. Maybe start out with $25 per trade. And if there's something you're really bullish on, like you really do see, okay, we've got the break and the retest. We've got a real break and a retest. If we see this retest holds, maybe you want to go a little higher, as into like 25% of your account, but I'm not advising that. That's getting a little degen. Stick with that 10% range of your account per trade is what I would say.
Nice and conservative. Awesome. Okay, cool.
It is, and slowly accumulating equals a lot. Like, especially if you're accumulating SOL, like accumulating a little more USDC is great. Accumulating more SOL to me is even better. So let's say I buy, I'm just going to pick arbitrary numbers just to make this simple, right? Let's say I buy 10 Solana down here at $20, right? Well, when I hit $40, instead of selling 10 Solana, or, I'm going to sell 5 Solana. Now I've got 100% of my trade money back, and I've taken my profits into extra Solana that I'm going to hold. Does that make sense? So if I, or if I spend $100 here on Solana, once it pumps up, hell, 100%, I could sell half my bag and then keep the bag in Solana, or I could take my profits into USDC. I could sell my whole bag and have 100% more USDC, or I could get the same amount of USDC back. So let's say you make a $20 trade. You can get your $20 back and keep your profits in that extra Solana you earned. Or you could sell all of it and get $40 back for that trade. Does that make sense? So you can choose where to take your profits, into Solana or into USDC.
Sure, yeah. And as someone who's just like, I have very little SOL, as I've been actually against the whole idea of being on SOL for like the whole 2 years I've been in crypto. So now I'm just bridging over, bought the Frog for staying, getting a little bit of my ETH bridged over to SOL. So now I'm just trying to, understand what those small trades might look like with Thor. So that's good. That, $25 range, $30 range.
Do you know we have a bridge as well?
I did not know.
Fuck yeah, dude. Frogs fuck. You're gonna find out. Frogs fuck, bro.
Dude, frogs really do fuck. This is like the best NFT community ever.
So if we go here to the contract, you guys are getting a look at my personal auto contract here, but here's a swap and here's a bridge. So if you go up into the holder area and you go to Auto Thor, right?
Yep.
And you go to Auto Thor V3, you sign in. So you can bridge ETH right to Sol. You can swap your USDC to Kira or to Sol. So when you go to AutoThor, let's say I want to open a position of $1,000, or let's just say 500. Want to open a position of 500? It means I need 154 USDC and 6.46 Sol. So if I only have $500, okay, swap USDC to Sol, and I need 6.46. And then I'm ready to open up my account.
So this
If
is
you
all
need to bridge from Ethereum, send it on over.
amazing. So you have all the tools in house, like right on the website, to do everything you need to get going on Thor.
Yes, and we've gone a step further. Not only do we have all the tools, our one of a kind, amazing fucking dev, Sile. He is the absolute GOAT. He is one of the co-founders of CyberFrogs here. He is the dev and sole dev of this. So none of this is outsourced. No one else has any access to any of this in any way. This is all in-house by one person that is also the creator of Thor. So he could just be using Thor and sell it and whatever, but he's the fucking GOAT. So that's another thing. Yes, we have all these tools in-house. They're also all built and maintained and updated in-house.
Dev sucks. The education is based. This is amazing. Thanks a lot, man.
I appreciate that, man. We all do. Like the entire Frogs team. I'll be sure to tell them. We got some new people joining and finding the utility because we have all worked very hard at this. The team has all worked for free because I don't know if you know, but CyberFrogs was a DROG. So
I was reading that in your history.
Yeah,
it's even more impressive. That's part of what attracted me to the community. You guys obviously are doing this for the right reasons at this point. So that's few and far between at this point in the crypto NFT timeline. You know what I mean?
We have a much grander timeline and goal than 99.9% of projects ever started with or even lied about. So, we've got the long-term goal. We know what's going to happen. It's just the different ways of how we are making it happen and rolling it out. And we honestly have things that the contract can do that blockchain can't yet. So we're ahead of the game in some ways. But this is what I wanted to was talking about earlier. You see, these green is when Thor is making a buy, and the red is when Thor is taking profits. Now, where you see it's taking these profits, it's probably from when it bought back here. Not from like, oh, it bought right here and took profit right there. No, this is probably where it bought, and this is where it's selling. It's buying the dips to sell whenever the next pump is. So it's going to continually buy the dips. Even if Sol drops down to $40, $25, $30, it's going to buy each of the dips to then sell the peaks on the pumps. And you can scroll down a little further. And here's
as a spot bag at those different points. Is that what's going on?
So yes and no. I'll show you. So here you can see when it's buying SOL, when it's selling SOL, right? So the amount of SOL that it's holding right now is 3%. MSOL, so it can be staked or used in perpetuals. 28%. Same with BSOL, which is basically Binance, so it can be used in staking or perpetuals. And then the contract is 31% in USDC, capital ready to fire, and some of that can be staked as well. The contract is opening up to take perpetual shorts as well. And we are still working on getting this interface and the analytics to reflect and show all that. What you are looking at right here, right now, I do believe, don't hold me to it, but I do believe this is still just the spot trading buy and sell that is showing on this. Again, we have one dev that does everything. So some of the things do take time to roll out, but that's how we know they're always rolled out fucking proper and can always be updated and maintained. And, frogs are a constant evolution. What the contract does now is not what it's going to do in 6 months. What it did 6 months ago is not what it does now. It used to just buy and sell SOL, buy low, sell high. That was it. Now it starts staking SOL, starts staking USDC in between those trades, and now we're rolling out to where it'll do perpetual shorts as well.
Okay, can I ask you one more question?
Absolutely.
Okay, so when it's doing all of those things like buying or staking USDC and SOL, it's doing what it's doing. How are you benefiting? And then to what degree are you benefiting from those actions when you're entered in? You profit from every trade that it makes in that 90-day period?
So think of it as you put a little piece into the pie and would say, let's just say, you put in 1% of what the contract has total. Well, you get 1% of whatever actions are made here. Everybody that enters the contract, all their money is basically in one giant pool. So you can think of if this trade made 1%, you made 1%. If this trade made 3%, you made 3%.
Amazing. Okay, so you're LPing or not quite? It's basically the same idea.
I missed that first part. Say again.
You're providing that liquidity, whatever you choose, into that contract, into the pool with everybody, and then
exactly
percentage. Okay, beautiful.
Yep.
Thanks, man.
And then you're only taxed on your profits. So it costs you only to open a contract. It's only $5 USD to open a contract that goes for 90 days. And you're only taxed on your profit. And if you look, check this out. Our dials, our dial. That's second time I said dial. Dev Sile. We've got MetaMask Connect coming, and make the bridge even easier. So there you go. Fuck, I lost my train of thought now that I said dial again.
New nickname for Sile.
Right? So you're only taxed on your profits, right? And the more frogs you have, the bigger your tax break is. So, you can just drop your taxes lower and lower. There was something else I was going to mention. Oh, so anyone, maybe if you've got friends that, don't really want to fuck with NFTs on SOL or whatever, they don't see the value of frogs, that's fine. But they can clearly see the value of the contract. Anyone can open up a position with the contract. Anyone. But having frogs reduces the amount of taxes that you're going to pay on your profits. So, and that's one of the differences with Thordinals. I don't know if you've seen our Thordinals, which is our Bitcoin ordinal. Thordinals, we have BTC pairings, manual trading pairs, and then we have a BTC auto contract coming out. So just the same thing that this contract is doing with Sol, we're going to have another one that does the same thing on Bitcoin, but you are going to have a Bitcoin, a Thordinal. You must have a Thordinal in order to operate with that contract. It's not going to be like this one where anyone can come in and use it. They just pay a little more tax. No, it's going to be very exclusive. You must have a Thordinal to operate with the BTC contract.
Absolutely, man. I did all of my my due diligence before bridging over and buying my frog. So I heard all about the Thordinals. Got the shill already.
Fuck yeah. Awesome,
Frog
dude.
spot.
Glad to have you join us.
Thanks a lot, man. Means a lot.
Yeah. And go ahead.
I have a question to the order contract. Maybe a tough question. Yeah, but right now all the airdrops are happening, so I assume Thor got also airdropped because it's staking. Yeah.
I honestly, I have no idea. I don't have access. I mean, you can look up the Thor wallet.
Okay.
I don't have the address to it like right here or anything, but you can. There's no bars hidden. Like you can absolutely look up the Thor address and see if it did receive any of the airdrop or not. If that's pertinent for some reason at all.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can certainly look up the address and see literally everything that goes on with this wallet. We don't hide anything at all. Full transparency with everything.
Yeah. Cool. I only
check
got the
this
idea because I was I was thinking about the airdrops everyone got. So yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get shit. I was kind of little.
I
Yeah, man.
also
Don't say
didn't
everyone.
got
I didn't
this.
get any pipe.
I also didn't
I'm
got
still
anything.
waiting on that pipe.
Yeah, me too. I'm
That's
eligible
it.
for the
People are like,
Jupiter
I just
airdrop,
got
but
$700 in this wallet. I'm like, oh shit, let me check mine. Oh, I didn't get fuck all. But whatever.
Yeah.
I got 4, so it doesn't matter. But if you look, before Sol took its dip, this was just over 800,000. But we are getting closer and closer to approaching that $1 million TVL. And I think once we do reach that 1 million TVL, people are really going to start to take notice. And I think Cyber Frogs are going to get some of the recognition that they deserve. I haven't been on the team. It's been quite a while now, but not the 2 years that Andy and Sile and Charge and SWAT and a lot of the others that are part of the team, Veloci, all of them have been, and really, I like the term derug to relevant, but it's cool to see everything finally come to fruition, and they're going to get the recognition for Frogs building through the bear as many claimed, but we'll see who really did, and we know Frogs did.
absolutely. Best project. Fox.
Just build.
Frogs fuck.
Frogs fuck. Let's go.
Damn right. I mean, look at that. Over 100% current performance. Approaching that 1 mil. And Andy, we got to thank you a lot for that. You are well connected, a very good representative. And Thor speaks for itself when you look at the data. So awesome to have you fucking with us, and yeah, just keeping it fucking rocking.
Thank you, Moda. I love you. Honestly, I so appreciate the time you take to run these Trader Tuesdays, because when I first joined Frogs, I knew zero about trading, about charts, about any of it, and it was so intimidating for me. I remember the first Trader Tuesday I attended. I was like, what are these lines? What am I looking at?" And I still feel that way half the time. But it's just so comforting to have this really daunting thing broken down and explained to you in a way that you can actually understand it, even if you've had zero or not, like, close to no trading experience. And like you said earlier, where when you want to learn something, you're like really, really relentless with it. I also made that goal for myself that, like, by the end of this year, I want to learn trading, manual trading, and I want to like do my very first few trades, and I'm on my way there, and I just have to say thank you for your time and all the knowledge you're sharing with all of us. I really, really, really appreciate it.
Listen, I said this on the spaces we did earlier with Stone Apes. Like, to me, all I want is freedom, and time is money, and that's just the world we live in. And so, if I need to make money to have more time, so be it. And that's ultimately all I want is freedom, and for everyone else to feel like they're living their life free the way that they want to. And yeah, so it's a tough goal to say I want to become a profitable trader within a year, but it is an absolutely realistic goal that you can make happen. And with Thor, it makes it just that much more of a tangible reality to where you can see how it can happen right from the start. And the fact that my own TA and my chart lines and being a little chartist has helped. I'm very glad. That's all I can help, and that's why I encourage everyone and anyone to ask questions, because I know looking at these charts you can be like, "Whoa, that's so many lines and colors. Like, what in the fuck is even going on?" Now I'm even more confused than where I started. That's the last thing I want, is for you to be more confused than when you even started. That's why I try to make it as simple as you can literally just look at the Thor call, and you can literally just look at a Thor call and look at where your entry point is. In this call per se, you can look at exactly where your entry point is. You can see exactly where your take profit point is, and you can calculate your risk based on what your risk tolerance is, and know exactly where your stop loss point should be. You don't need to know how to look at those charts and draw those lines and do all that other stuff that I spent years learning how to do, because I just didn't know about Thor. I'd heard about Cyberfrogs. I knew a lot of the other projects they had done other shit with, like as far as the trait swapping and staking and like all the other NFT stuff. But I just did not know about Thor and what it provided until I met Andy in person in Vegas. And I was like, wait, are you fucking serious? Like, so the bag of soul I've got sitting there, like, that I just want to save until 5 years from now, I could actually have it doing something, outperforming staking for me, and outperforming staking like significantly. Okay, you've got my attention. And obviously from there, the more I learned about frogs, it didn't take very long for for me to become part of the team. Frogs Fox. There's no other way to put it. There is no other dial like Sile. There's no other dev like Sile, man. There really isn't. I've worked with some great devs, but there is not another one quite like Sile. Andy is a relentless and dedicated man that just knows no quit and has high expectations, high goals, and I believe in every fashion will reach them. The team that we're putting together is just top notch. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't even catch your name. We've been talking. Wrecked. Do you know about TAP and what TAP is and what it's going to be? Have you read into that? I don't know if you can talk or was it wrecked?
Sorry.
For you?
No, I'm not aware of that.
Okay, so what TAP is Thor Automated Protocol, right? But TAP is going to be a service that we roll out with complete different quote unquote branding from CyberFrogs that is professional as fuck and looks like any other professional trading service or anything else. And by the way, CyberFrogs have built their own decks. That'll come into play later too. But TAP, what it's going to be is anyone that trades crypto, whether they're into NFTs or not. And by the way, Thor also works for Forex. People will be able to get on TAP and pay a subscription fee to have access to Thor Forex calls and crypto calls that they pay, a monthly fee, whatever. And on the back end, it's always buying and burning Kira. So we're basically opening these services to everyone that wants to trade crypto and Forex, and in a very professional, upfront interface and manner. And then CyberFrogs, it's like, well, then what's the point of CyberFrogs? Well, CyberFrogs are always going to be earning the Kira. They're going to pay less taxes on the contract and have access to the auto contract, as well as a number of other features and things we're rolling out. But so basically, as we open it up, everyone in Frogs and earning Kira is going to benefit more and more by the more users we get that aren't even involved in NFTs or potentially not even involved in crypto. So that's what I mean, the goals and aspirations that we have and the things that we are working toward, what's laid out and what is already in action. This isn't vaporware. This isn't a fucking pipe dream. Is bigger than, what most projects even claim that they wanted to do. So, you found yourself in the right place, man.
Yeah, that's incredible. Clearly, it's well thought out and designed to last into the future and be quite successful. That's amazing. Thanks for explaining everything.
For sure, dude. Glad to have you join us. I'm gonna wrap up at about 9:00. So we got a little under 15 minutes or about 15 minutes. If anybody's got questions about the charts, about Thor, about other currencies. Actually, let me go look at Gala. We talked about Gala.
Yeah, but I was just about to say that Gala call you gave, that alpha. Unfortunately, I didn't get to position myself in that, but I was following it, and that shit. Yeah, you were fucking spot on, dude.
So I made the break. There was the retest. Went up 50%, and yeah, I think that is actually nothing. because let's look at this thing long term. Look at this kind of downtrend that we broke. And last time we broke a downtrend, it took, come on, work with me here. Sometimes it jumps around when I'm on stream. I don't know why. It took over 100% jump, right? Before it then retraced. This is still on an uptrend here, as you can see. But I'm looking for the long-term what? We got the break. Looking for what? The long-term retest. And if this comes down and makes what? The higher low, we're now looking for higher highs. And if we start an uptrend here and it's significant, I mean, just from this point to retest all-time highs is 3,300%. Just to retest this zone that I marked, because this is where it initially kind of came out, found its initial support and took off. Just to retest that zone from here, so not even from the retest, but from where we currently are, is 75%. To the top of that zone and that initial first resistance, which will probably play a significant point again in the future, 230%. So, not financial advice. Do your own research. But if you want to get fucking degen, you know, we have the white line coming up to approach. If we do get this higher low, we get the white line to cross up above the blue. We get the RSI to find stability here above neutral and hang the fuck on, because this could easily rip that 50 to 100%, or even, you know, up to here to the next big resistance point. You're looking at 600 fucking percent. Yeah, not financial advice. Do your own research. And this is on a daily chart, by the way, not a 4-hour. Just to clarify that. So this is much longer time frame. You know, just that little dip that I drew out is 40 days from here to here. So just for clarification on that. Sorry to cut you off. You had a question?
Yeah, I was just going to ask, you're just using like simple like horizontal ranges and moving averages. Do you ever use Fibonacci retracement?
I do. I use Fibonacci retracements a lot for my entry zones. I don't mention them a lot on here because I don't want to make things more confusing or whatever. But what I would do, now that we made this break, I would put the fib here and go back down to the bottom. And my golden, you see I changed the colors on my Fibonacci. My entry point is there on the golden zone. This is where I like to enter. I'll go ahead and make, that's my entry zone. My golden zone of where I want to enter. My take profit points are at, my take profit 1 is at the blue line, and my take profit 2 is at the green line. So from that point, again, I'd be looking at 100% to the first one, and we'd be looking at 180%. And it also lines up with this zone. And if I draw a horizontal ray right onto that blue line, and I draw a horizontal ray right onto that line, you can kind of see where they've acted as support and where they've acted as resistance in the past, how they've been support, how they've become resistance, resistance, support, resistance, So, yeah, I do use Fibonacci's a lot to determine my retest entry zone. So basically, I would be looking to enter anywhere from there to like here, and I would set my stop loss down here below last low. Is my manual trading strategy that I developed over years before using and learning about Thor.
Dope. I think it would be cool to maybe focus on that one of these sessions, like try to show people how to use the Fibonacci a little bit more, because that's like one of my
I definitely
favorite things to use.
Yeah, if now that you've asked, yeah, I certainly will, and that's why I want people to ask and whatever. But the last thing I want from these Trader Tuesday sessions is for people to leave feeling more confused or think trading is more complicated than when they came into it. Just what Fibonacci retracements are is, basically almost all things in nature and life follow a Fibonacci sequence. And basically it's a way to say, okay, if this was our low and this was our pump, our retest, it gives our most likely retest zones. And then after this zero line, what are most likely resistance points may be based off of this move from this low to this high.
Yeah, I totally get you don't want to confuse people too, because like once you start drawing all these lines and moving averages and horizontal ranges, and then you add Fibonacci, it could definitely get
right.
confusing. So yeah,
right.
I definitely feel that.
But so I kind of, this is a way I check my own analysis, though, a lot of times of where I think this retest and where my entry point should be. And like we can even do this with, let me go back to the 4 hour, which is what we've been looking at. Let's see how it lines up on this and how it usually lines up uncannily with Thor as well. So this would have been the low point. What? I hate when this thing jumps. Come on. See, it did not start at all where I'm trying to put it. And you remember where I just said my golden pocket was, right? Right on that gold line. So my entry zone is from here to here, just like I showed before on the last chart. So you can see we did enter the entry zone and we held the lower high, and take profit point would be on the blue line and take profit point would be on the green line. You see this was significant price action and where Thor had a call before. So, and this is pretty damn close to where Thor is making the entry, and back to zero line is pretty damn close to the take profit point. So you can see the Fibonacci's are lining up pretty close with this call right here as well.
Yeah, that's something I noticed with the Fibonacci's. Like I know, like the Thor is just math, right? And Fibonacci is just like math. So it's like Thor always seems to line up with the Fibonacci levels, which is
it does. Yes, it does. Most certainly. But you can see, it can predict these points. So, let's look at it on Bitcoin just for shits and giggles. If we're saying that was our high, come on, move down here.
I think you could just take, like, on the left, you have that magnet switched on. I think that's what's making it, like, jump around for you too much.
Maybe. Maybe. So you can see that would have been my entry zone would be here, and my stop loss would essentially be the pink line right above the last highs, right? Blue line is 1 and 2 is green. So right here, blue line, look at that. It's right here at the support. Remember I said if we lose this 30, so this is almost at 34. And I said if we lose this 33 level, expect us to go all the way back down to 30. Well, I'd be taking profits at 31 right before it hit that 30 level. So pretty close to, you see where the price action is and where I was calling for it to hold or lose support. So if you made your entries for shorts in the zones, you know, on the lower highs, these would be take profit point. This is where I would look to take usually 50% of my position. So this is where I like to take and close 50% of my position. And I move my stop loss up to, you know, usually 0 or slightly above. So that it's a free trade that I've also already closed 50% of it in profit, right? Then when I hit this point, this is where I look to potentially close the entire trade. But that's when I'm really starting to pay attention to trend line and where I'm at on a trend line. So you gotta keep in mind you could be looking at it like this. Oh. So probably be something, you know, something more like that. If you want to compare it to the Fibonacci's. So by the time I hit this point, it may be over here and on support and about to break the wedge. You know, that could be, these could be skewed in time frame, how long they take to play out, right? So down here where I'm closing, and down here at this range where it's now was resistance, could become support. You know, now's when I'm going to be paying attention. Am I holding or losing? And am I potentially breaking? Because if I do break this, I'm for sure closing out my entire position if I didn't already.
Yeah, Mo, thanks again for a fucking fantastic night. Frogs fuck. And I'll be fucking tuning in next week, keeping tabs. And hell yeah, man.
I appreciate you joining as always. And it's not solidified yet, but going to work on making this happen. Trying to work in an additional trading session each week that will be more likely more in the morning, so it's you know, a different crowd can try to tune in, you know, catch the different time zones. And you know, a lot of moves happen within a week. So, you know, we had our wedge. We had our wedge drawn here first and said, okay, we're looking to see whether we break up or break down out of this wedge, right? Well, once we broke up out of it, once we came back down here, this is why I made the updates in the Tuesday Trader Review. I put updates and said, okay, we broke out, but now look at what we're forming. And, we had that new wedge. And I said, and showed, we got almost two options of what we could be seeing here. So this was made yesterday, yesterday morning, while Solana was still up above the white EMA. I said, here's our two scenarios. We either find support on the white line, we find support on the white line, we find support on the RSI, we find support on the green trend line, we break out of this wedge and we look for new higher high, or what I thought was more likely and we started with was this head and shoulder pattern, and I thought we were going to lose support of the RSI, start printing candles below the white EMA, and start printing candles below our green trend line. And here's what I said is, at this point, we have formed the wedge, head and shoulder, failing to make a higher high, meaning a lower high, often results in the lower low. If we start to lose supports, this is when I'd start to be looking to make shorts and see a potential series of lower highs, lower lows for a downtrend. Look to Thor long calls to take profits. So let's go back to the chart real quick just to see where we're at on that compared to that update, and why I hope some people are paying attention to these updates. We were back here and we've broken down below out of the wedge. The RSI has started to fall below neutral. We have broken below our downtrend, right? So what do we say? These are the place you want to enter on shorts, and this is where you want to look to take profits or look to take the long call. But you want to be prepared for every direction all the time. But I got to say, we've been pretty on point with our own TA here in the Tuesday Trader Review, and then taking advantage of Thor calls when they are right for us in these scenarios. But again, all you need to be a successful trader is to manage your risk and find yourself on the right side of probability. Thor can help you manage your risk and put you on the right side of probability. You don't even need to look at these charts, but having your own TA and understanding Thor a little bit better, I think is always beneficial to educate yourself when you can. So I appreciate you listening to me as if I have something to teach you.
Oh, more than you know, Mode. We all appreciate you, dude.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna close it up unless anyone else has any final questions. That's right. The trend is your friend until the end, and I think we may have seen the end of our trend. We are literally just looking for that last confirmation that we have, and that confirmation would be that we make the lower high again and we don't break back up into there. That anywhere making the lower high would be our next indicator and our next time to look to potentially make entry. So the trend is your friend until the end, and we've got our first indicators that it could have ended. So appreciate you guys. Frog Spunk. manage your risk. Let's earn our fucking freedom back. Let's make some money. Let's be the mega bulls during this bull run, and at the end of it, be the fucking whales. That's the goal. Gonna help you all get there. Let's fucking go.
Oh yeah, let's get it.
All right, peace out, y'all.
Peace.
Thank you.